What is up, entrepreneurs? You are tuned into the non-corporate network. You are watching Entreprenews, a show where Dustin and I debate the top 6 trending small business stories for 3 minutes each. We each give our take. Dustin runs home crying to mama because I wiped the floor with him, and we move on to the rest of our days. Dustin, you ready to get this thing started?
Let's go down to get that W, wear the belt today. Let's make it happen, man.
Okay, getting into our first story. Amazon's new smart shopping cart lets you check out without a cashier. It is equipped with a touchscreen and other various hardware components to automatically detect what items you're placing in your cart. It even knows how many of those items you picked up off the shelf. This is crazy, man. This is a big innovation for grocers across the nation, across the world. Dustin, what are your thoughts on this? Are there going to be positive or negative implications to this?
Innovation. Fry's has been doing this for a while. I mean, they have the self-checkout. They've recently come out with the handheld devices where you can scan stuff, throw it in your cart. When you're done, simply check out and don't even have to go to a cashier. So, I mean, in terms of the technology, I mean, it's not innovative. I think they're using the word innovative and convenient in order to get more of your data. They know what you're buying. They know your purchase patterns, which then they can advertise to you more and drive more of their revenue.
You know, I can't argue with you there, but what I will say is that Google released a smartphone at one point, got smacked by Apple. No one gave a crap because they did a bad job of marketing it. It was outside of their sphere. And so I think that, Fry's better be shaking in their boots as these other grocery stores, because Amazon is coming and they're here to stay, man, in the grocery space. If you don't remember, they bought Whole Foods a couple of years ago, and they have just continually been growing and growing that business. And, it's not the best product wins. And I think that Amazon is also going to win the best product too. So it's like, you've got best product, best marketing, most resources. I look at this and I say, I agree with you. The data is an issue, but bye-bye to these other like grocery stores. When it comes to the marketing side, they obviously aren't going to do it the same way.
I mean, I think it's an uphill battle for Amazon. I mean, you have the fry, you have all the normal grocery stores that people are used to. So, I mean, it's going to take a lot of marketing dollars, a lot of convincing which
they have.
Yeah, they do. If they can deploy it correctly. But I mean, I still think there's more opportunity in the 30-minute delivery, whatever they have.
Right.
Ultimately, if they're pushing this against convenience, it's more convenient to not even go to the store and just have it delivered to you.
They're almost working backwards.
So it's I'm all for convenience. I don't want to be out shopping. I don't want to be talking to cashiers. I'd rather just be, working more on the business or whatever that may be. So, I mean, I like where it's going in terms of just saving people time, but I think they're hiding behind the convenience and saving people time in order just to collect more data, which that could be a good thing. It could be more convenience, but I mean, with all the news that there's been around data protection, data privacy, how companies are leveraging that data, that's where it gets kind of iffy.
Bye-bye grocery store jobs is the other thing I'm seeing too. I think that I was in Walmart the other day, and they have a robot that drives around Walmart and scans the shelves to let the back office or back room know there's stuff missing on these shelves, go restock them. It's only a matter of time before that warehouse technology is starting to be applied to all these stores, and there's going to be an autonomous grocery stores. So
yep.
Yeah. Well, getting into our next story, Flippy, the AI assistant chef, cooking up food at MLB stadiums for $3 an hour. This is absolutely crazy to me, but the AI is starting to take over some jobs in the way of flipping hamburgers. What do you think this does for the jobs, and how soon will we no longer need food service employees altogether?
I mean, it's I don't think it's going to take the jobs. It's going to help complement. You can open up more restaurants. You can put more. You're saving money on people flipping burgers. You can put more R&D and making a more robust menu. And even then, there's always going to be, we're picky. People are going to have those random orders that just you can't continually program a robot to take. And so it just goes back to the original argument where I think AI and robots are going to help complement workers and not take over jobs. And they're going to do a lot of tasks that people don't even enjoy doing. which is a good thing. But I mean, it's to me.
What do you enjoy doing more? Sitting at home getting an unemployment check, or flipping a burger at the baseball game? Is my question, because I think that there's a lot of places and a lot of restaurants where notoriously it is about the human experience. It's about the fact that there's people that are making the food, there's conversation, you're having fun, you're in an environment with other people. You start to eliminate the human aspect of this. I think that, it's just a novelty, and it's a way to make the business more profitable more than it's a way to enhance the customer service or enhance the actual product.
Yeah, I mean, I think people still want that human element, so that need for humans will always be there. But I mean, let's take a second and think about small business creation. You could leverage a robot or some AI to help get some of the tasks done, which make it more economical to get something started, which then you can build on top of that. So essentially, we're going to have a lot more business creation.
Hey, it's pretty economical to get a $100,000 robot, though, right?
It is. I mean, if you're looking at the long term, I mean, they got fine at $3 an hour is what it comes out to. It's all about how you deploy.
Take a lot of burgers to finance a $100,000 robot for $3 an hour.
If you can open up, 7 burger joints because you got a robot going around helping, you have more revenue coming in. But I just keep going back to it's humans and robots are going to work together and to make it a better environment, I guess, especially for the small businesses. And I just read an article from Forbes. They're talking about AI and how it's going to allow small businesses to compete with the larger businesses. Just simply looking through data, doing all that type of stuff. Data analysts and data scientists, I mean, you're looking at $150,000, $200,000 jobs where you can leverage AI to help see trends and make your business more efficient. And I think that's where the power is going to come. But
anything with precision, with anything with precision and repetition is something that can be replicated by AI. And there's a lot of jobs out there, obviously, that are doing that. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm really, I'm open to seeing how this goes. But if we're eliminating POS systems, we're eliminating food service jobs,
business owners are smart. The smart ones are going to figure out how to combine this and grow the business more rather than the cost savings. Anyone that's simply looking at cost savings, they're going to hurt their long term. And a smart business owner will know that, and they'll leverage this new technology, AI, to build something bigger. And so, the famous words, only time will tell.
We'll leave it at that.
Cool. Going on to our next story. So 59% of customers support businesses that are enforcing social distancing and not so much prefer it, but if you have two businesses that you're looking to go to, 59% will choose the one that's doing it over the one that's not. One for safety reasons. But what's even more interesting is that the breakout in terms of how people think social distancing should be enforced, where 37% of people think it falls on the local business to enforce it, where 36% think citizens should be doing it. What's actually pretty mind-blowing is only 8% think that it's the government's role to enforce. And then we have 8% that just don't believe social distancing works. And so, a vast majority of people think it falls on the businesses and citizens rather than the government to enforce it. What are your thoughts?
I think it's interesting, obviously, that people are not looking at the government as the enforcers of this. I think that there's a lot of examples of the business owners screwing this up, right? Whether it's in Arizona, whether it's in Georgia, whether it's in Florida, there's so many stories popping out about business owners that were not responsible, that did not get COVID testing, that made their workers go and work with COVID. And so I think the more that those businesses are made an example of and come out of the woodwork and it comes out that, hey, we weren't trustworthy, it's going to ruin it for everybody. And so I really do believe that it comes down to consumers really buying into this, not for fear of punishment, but rather for fear of the spread of it, really. And so I look at this and I go, a big part of us as humans is consensus, right? The more that you're the oddball that isn't doing the thing everyone else is doing, the more you're going to be pushed into kind of the compliance, right? And so I think that it really falls on more people being, not in your face about wearing a mask, but the more people going, why aren't you wearing a mask? I think that's really what's going to hold consumers accountable as other consumers.
And I think we're seeing that. I mean, even 2 months ago when I was out and about, it's more people didn't have masks than did. Right. And now it's like you go out and I don't really see that many people not wearing a mask. Right. I think, it comes to us as a country, I think, to just everyone's tired of living this way, whether it's a right or not a right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to continue to operate as we are now if the spread keeps going. So it's like, it sucks to wear a mask, but it also sucks to be dealing with what we're dealing with and having to stay in. Businesses partially open, the whole new norm doesn't sound fun. And I think if we can all just come together, I mean, united we stand, divided we fall. Let's be united and figure it out. Yeah. And I think that's where the positives are going to be. I mean, yeah. I think what is interesting is seeing that 8% think that the government should do it. I think we all believe that we shouldn't be ruled to do it. We're free people. Let's figure out how to work together as a country to do it. Which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it is a free country. Leave it
Good thoughts.
Great
thoughts there, Chaz.
It's a free country. It's going to take us buying in. It's going to take us saying, yeah, I'm going to wear a mask. No, I'm not. But okay.
All right, Chaz, go to the timer.
Yeah, saved by the bell. Well, before we get into our next story, I want to mention that we are powered by State 48. State 48, we appreciate you. Amazing business based out of here in Arizona. And they do a lot of great partnerships, a lot of great things for the community. Dustin, do you have anything you want to mention about State 48?
Check them out, state48.com. Clothing for everyone, powered by Arizona. So just go check them out. They doing a lot of good. Going into our next story, so more on the stats and numbers. 62% of small businesses think that they're likely to have or maintain the same amount of staff through 2020 going into 2021. What's even more interesting is 20% of businesses say that they'll have more staff, while only 18% say that they'll have less. With everything going on, social distancing becoming more of a thing, restaurants have to operate at a 50% capacity. I mean, how are so many businesses so optimistic? Last episode, we talked about CEOs having such an optimistic view. Obviously, we have an optimistic view here. The stock market keeps going up. I mean, It seems like the news keeps getting more negative in terms of more cases, more deaths, and all this stuff. But in terms of a business, things are looking more positive. What are your thoughts on these numbers?
They must not have surveyed the 30% of businesses that went out of business, because this is some sunshine and rainbows headline that simply is not factual. If you're making a whole representative survey of every small business owner from the beginning of 2020, I mean, the writing is on the wall here. There's there's millions of people that are unemployed. There's, a significant amount of businesses that are just going under. So it makes it hard for me to believe that we're looking at this and 62% are going to have the same amount of staff. It's just not the case. I mean, people's business models are changing, right? Whether it's a grocery store, whether it's Best Buy, they don't have any more salespeople on the floor at Best Buy because they won't let you in but one by one. And we're cutting staff in so many different ways. I don't see this as something that is, I mean, you can tell me that the numbers don't lie, but it looks like they're lying to me. But yeah,
I mean, I think the one thing that's kind of getting missed, and I mean, you had the initial shock and it's just like, oh man, we got, we're shrinking, and then it kind of evened out. But I think one thing that isn't being recognized is that, the whole forbearance programs, those are coming to an end. So people are going to have a huge mortgage check they got to write, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000.
Sure.
Unemployment is drying up. The $600 a week is going to dry out here pretty soon. And then you got PPP that's running out. And so I think businesses are used to, the income levels that are coming in, but a lot of that is going to be cut off when you got people that have to pay forbearance. Now they don't have that extra money to go spend on local businesses. They don't have the unemployment to go spend. And so I think in terms of just overall cash flow, that's going to shrink. And I'm wondering what these numbers look like once the reality starts sinking in. And I mean, it's
local service businesses are operating between like a 5 and a 25% margin oftentimes. And so for me to look at this story and see that people are actually considering hiring more staff or keeping the exact same amount of staff, despite the decrease in demand, despite the decrease in profitability, that those two things don't line up. So I truly hope that, this is representative, but as you mentioned, with all these stimulus things drying up, we'll see if this sticks around.
A lot of yeses come from Ches. I won that one. So going on to our next story. So Netflix is eager to restart production for 2021. They're good on content for 2020. I mean, Netflix's production has been down. Hulu's production has been down. Major movie studios' production has been down. So it's it's almost like, what are we going to watch in 2021 if we're still isolated in our homes? They're already thinking ahead in case that they can't get this started, and they're buying rights to show movies such as The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm pumped for that to come out. I can't wait.
The SpongeBob movie, dude.
The SpongeBob movie. So, I mean, really, it's with less production being done and content being created from these major outlets. I mean, what does that mean for individual content creators? I mean, we're doing this. Is there going to be a huge surge in this type of stuff going on? I mean, should Netflix be worried? Should major studios be worried? I mean, what does this mean for content in general?
Yeah, I mean, even like one of the most successful shows of all time on Netflix is Money Heist. And that was just a show that was picked up randomly and put on Netflix. I mean, there is this decentralized model of content creation that's already a thing where a Netflix original doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't just pick it up and buy the rights to it. So I truly think that, we're going to see a lot more animated movies because that seems to be something where you don't have to be in the studio. But, it's a lot easier to make movies now, too. I think that's one thing that we don't think about. You don't have to be on location. The CGI is absolutely incredible now where you can just be inside of a 360-degree sound stage and produce something that you otherwise would have to go travel across the world to do. So I think that, it's becoming a little bit easier to produce. The cost of production is dropping because it's leaving LA. I mean, there's a huge presence in Atlanta, where I'm from, in terms of the movie studios that are out there and the content's being produced out there. But, I also think that Netflix is going to kind of not necessarily get toppled over, but, if you haven't seen, Prime Video copying a lot of the same interface as Netflix now, Hulu is starting to become a bigger player, doing sports and things. So I truly think that, they're all going to keep raising their prices too. I mean, Disney Plus, they've got rights to everything that they've made for the last 100 years. So it's it's going to become a lot more fierce competition, but I can imagine that Netflix prices are just going to keep climbing. They probably raised their prices since I've been talking. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the, the other side of that is if they're not producing content, they're obviously not getting a ton of expenses, and so
maybe they're more profitable right now. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, should they pass the savings down to consumers, build up that brand equity and relationship with people and bring that happiness? I mean, if they're not spending as much,
keep The Office for another year, baby. The $200 million show, dude.
That and I just think that there's going to be huge opportunities for individual content creators and like what we're doing. I think there's going to be a huge influx of that. And going back to AI taking jobs, I mean, hey, I think there's a lot more people who'd rather talk about what they love than flipping a burger. And so there's going to be a ton more of this.
Don't forget Facebook and YouTube as well. Those are two more plays. Well, getting into our final story, the Georgia governor sues the Atlanta mayor over city's mask mandate. This is kind of crazy. Essentially, it's kind of turning into a he said, she said kind of feud here. But just to give you a couple of points, the lawsuit marks a stunning escalation of brewing feud between Kemp and Bottoms, the Atlanta mayor, who introduced her mandatory mask ordinance in the city of Atlanta with punishment as being up to 6 months in jail. The governor's office has argued that the mayor's plan is not legally enforceable because Kemp signed an executive order that prohibits local action from being more prohibitive than the state's requirements. Dustin, who's right?
I mean, I think going back to the numbers on what the people want, and that's what the government's for, is helping the citizens. But more people are looking towards businesses and individual to enforce rather than the government. And so, I mean, I know we were talking about this before. I know that the mayor has, had some scares in the family with COVID. And so it's more of, is this a decision to help the citizen or just his family? I mean, there's a lot at play. I mean, when you start mandating that, there's more that can be mandated because of public health. I mean, it sets a precedence like we've talked about before, but I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, what do you think it's right? Do you think the mayor should be enforcing it? And I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's hard because the government gets to choose when they pull the plug on businesses being open, but then the business is supposed to be responsible for the policies as opposed to the government. It's kind of an oxymoron to me. I think, I think there is 3,000 plus deaths in the last few months with COVID from just the city of Atlanta alone. The mayor of Atlanta's entire family, including herself, have gotten COVID. And, there's been over 100,000 cases just in the Atlanta perimeter. And so to me, it's like she's looking at Kemp, who's already done a notoriously poor job of preemptively opening businesses, to have to shut them down again. A lot of horrible press to Georgia. It blows back to the city of Atlanta. I think that the mayor is within her rights to go, listen, I don't want to be the subject of national news. I don't want this arrogant governor to be, just throwing policies in and out of effect every 5 minutes. And so they've kind of taken it upon themselves to go, listen, we're going to control this ourselves. And it's almost like they're pulling the businesses out of the equation and going, this is from local government level to consumers. You guys have a responsibility to do this yourselves. The businesses aren't going to do it. The state government isn't going to do it. The federal government isn't going to do it. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge debate across the country. It's like, who does the government have the right to enforce it? I mean, like I've said many times, the government is supposed to help the citizens. And I mean, if people are getting sick and can't go to work and businesses are shuttering, then that's when the government should take its stance. I mean, whether it's to mandate that or create stimulus, whatever that may be, but it's tough. I mean, it's like, how do you, we're all about our rights and everything like that. How do you also keep safety without taking away rights? And I think it'll go down in history and we'll look back and power to the people, baby. Power to the people. Takes us doing it. We can't rely on the government, can't rely on small businesses enforcing it. It's going to come down to us. Well, I liked a lot of these stories. I'm looking back here. I thought it was very interesting. The 59% of customers will support a business following COVID safety guidelines. Just this whole debate around whose responsibility is this, and whose responsibility do we think this is? I mean, it's just the lines are so blurred. Flippy. I love it. I can't wait to see how AI and machines Flippy. And robots help make us more efficient and allow people to do more of what they want to do. Yeah. I'm huge on the optimistic side of it, not doom and gloom. I think us as humans, we can figure it out. So it's an interesting story to see how that continues to be introduced into more verticals and industries. Touche. Well, again, thank you, entrepreneurs, for tuning in. This has been Entreprenews on the Non-Corporate Network. If you have a show that you want to bring to life, you want to work with us, use our resources. Whether you're in Scottsdale or Shanghai, we're here for you. We want to work with you. So check out ncnbroadcast.com if you're interested in producing some of your own content. We just appreciate you guys' support. We know you got work to do. Dustin, do you have anything you want to add? No, I mean, for you, for those out there grinding, which I know everyone watching is, this is kind of like an Entrepreneur's Monday. Friday, it's going into the weekend. Everyone else shuts down. This is when we get ahead. So yeah, go out, make it a productive weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Well, once again, my name's Chaz Vandemotter. I'm Dustin Trout. We appreciate y'all. Peace. See you next time.